With you in 1 second. I'm just going to go and get myself a glass of water. Oh, it's been brought to me, so I don't have to do the going and getting it myself. And also, people are already joining. Before I invite Joey himself, I just want to say a little bit about Given to Life, because I'm sure there's people who know what we do and there's others who don't. As an organization, we've been running just over 6 years, and what we do is we make going to live music possible for vulnerable and disabled people who wouldn't normally be able to get to see their favorite band, something that I know I personally took for granted. I come from London, and the Hammersmith Odeon, as was up the road, and I could just go and see a band just like that. But for people who have issues ranging from physical, mental health, have maybe survived domestic violence, it's not as easy as just walking out of the front door and going to a show. So what we do is we treat our guests as VIPs, essentially, for the time they're with us. We cover their transport, tickets, show, a trip to the merch stand, because you can't go to a show without going to the merch stand. We have artists, local artists, create individual show posters for them, and we also will give them the opportunity to stay overnight if that's something they'd like, and put them up in a nice hotel, and that's what Given to Life does. So somewhere I've had a little notification that Joey, I've got to push this button, that Joey's here, and not that button. Wait a minute. It's going to help if I put my glasses on and this button. Right. Wait a minute. Joey, going live with Joe. And we just have to wait for a second for that to connect. I've managed to, hey Jerry, I've managed to somehow switch myself there. I'm back. There he is. There he is. Hello. How you doing?
Hey, Tom.
How are you, Jerry?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I've managed to, since I spoke to you earlier, something's giving me a bit of hay fever. So if my eyes are looking a bit like I've stayed up all night, it's not that. It's hay fever. So forgive me if I end up in a sneezing bout later on.
We've got a bit of the allergies going on here out in California too.
Have you? How are things out there for you with everything that's going on?
Really? Yeah, we've had a hell of a run the past couple weeks. No, it's actually been, and I know people are still out there protesting right now, but it was a little crazy. I'm right in the center of a lot of activity. Nothing happened. Everybody was cool, and we're good. We're good now.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Semi-normal. We're back to semi-normal.
Semi-normal. That's halfway. I don't know. God knows when. Honestly, I can't follow what our government says. It doesn't seem to make any sense at
Seems
all.
our governments have a lot in common then.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about on any given day. And, you know, the reality of it is we're still, my wife and I, we're just going to still do as if it was, 3 weeks ago. That's just what we want to do. I don't want to get sick,
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I'm just not going to take the chance. So
that makes good sense, and we're kind of doing the same. And I saw a great meme the other day, because they're talking about, should kids be allowed to go back to school? Shouldn't they? Will they? Won't they? This, that, and the other. And there's this great meme of a kid saying, "So I can throw a ball, but I'm not allowed to catch it." Which kind of sums it up, And that was the sort of stuff that was coming out from the government, not quite those very words, but there we go. Anyway, we're not here to chat about, well, we can chat about whatever we want. So we had a little chat, and I first of all want to say thank you so much for doing this, and really, really, really appreciate you being on. Found out that we have a few things in common as well. I really want to start off by praising your work.
Oh, thank you.
I love,
Please do.
Oh, okay. I am praising your work. How many times do I have to say it? No, it's awesome, and I love it, and I love having a look at it, and went through espresso beans. I don't think it's a bad thing to sort of use them as a name. I don't want to use brand names, but everyone who follows posters, and just going back through, and we spoke. You are so prolific at the moment with the amount of work you're doing, and it was kind of like, this is in 2020, this is in 2020, this is in 2020, this is in 2020, and so yes, say some more about it.
Well, I mean, we're in a time right now that, I mean, I don't know about you, I've never been in a pandemic. I've never been, in a situation in the world where I think it's really important for artists to document what's going on. I mean, and my art is based off of feeling. And the paintings I paint each day have to do with how I'm feeling and
Mm,
what I see around me. And, I also, I wake up days and I'm just depressed. I have anxiety. I don't know what's coming or what's going, but I have creativity in me and I need to paint. And when I paint, it's really it's a gift from the gods that I can go to the canvas or the paper and I can get out whatever I have to get out. Some people have to talk, some people exercise. I paint and I draw how I feel, and it's through this pandemic I've kind of just been documenting it through my paintings each day. So I have been working every day. I'm grateful that my studio is at a position where I'm not around anybody and it's just me by myself. And I have lots of supplies already stocked up and I can just keep going at it.
so a lot of it's documenting is a word you use, but also it sounds like it's kind of cathartic. It's a way of dealing with what's going on
100%.
internally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very sensitive person. Um, I kind of feel like I'm that Bruce Willis character a lot in that movie. What was it? Unbreakable, where he would touch people. I kind of absorb a lot of people's feelings like that. And you
Mm,
could just step outside. You live many miles away from me, but you could step outside and feel it in the air.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think that's part of being human. Whether it doesn't matter what political side you're on. There's something in the air, and yeah, therapy for me dealing with it is painting it and painting it out, and just thinking about the shit I just read on Twitter or thinking about what I saw on my drive in. That all goes into these pieces that I make. So,
mm, that makes so much sense. That's so much sense, and someone is 100% agreeing with you.
oh, wow, that might be the first time in my life.
um, you chatted earlier, and as I said again, going through espresso beans and seeing, just piece after piece after piece that was just fantastic, and yet you were saying that first poster you did for Pearl Jam, all of a sudden that had a huge impact on your career, on you as an artist.
Absolutely. And yeah, if there's any Pearl Jam, I know you deal a lot with Pearl Jam people, so if any of them are listening, first of all, my cats thank you. My wife thanks you. My Godzilla toy collection right here. See
Mm-hmm.
how big? They're pretty big, man.
Yeah,
If you could see them. I don't know. Hey, there we go.
yeah, I can
So
see.
the Pearl Jam people are wonderful, and they really the good ones. There was a couple that I had issues with, but they really super supportive and really like I when I did the Pearl Jam poster, I had no idea what to expect, and I told you the story of I can't. Do you want me to? I can let
Yep.
people know. Yeah. So I got the assignment, and I never really take assignments seriously because in this business that I'm in, there's a lot of yes and no and take it to the last minute and then, it's done. So I don't put expectations, but I had spoken with the merchandise people with Pearl Jam, and they said, "Yeah, you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." Come up with some ideas, and I waited, literally like a couple days, like maybe a day or two before, and I started researching into Pearl Jam, the band. Now, of course, I knew them. Their first album was given to me when I was a store artist at Tower Records in Philadelphia, and I listened to 10 all the time. And then I was like, maybe I hope this band comes up with another album. And then like 6 months later, they were everywhere. But I never really followed them that much along the way, except for the hits. Okay,
Mm.
so I do this piece. I start researching on them, and I see how much they like to give back, and charities and stuff, and organizations. So it was 2016, and election year was coming up, and healthcare was a major issue, and anybody that's ever had to deal with healthcare, it just sucks. It's just lots of bills, and depending on how much money you make, you get treated differently. That's just the fact over here. So what I did was I came up with the Plague Doctor, and there was a photo of Pearl Jam, and I basically just redrew the positions of them, but in these Plague Doctor masks. And I wrote on the back, basically it was because when the real plague, the first couple, the Black Plague was going on, they had these plague doctors, and the plague doctors would be hired to treat people rich or poor. It didn't matter who you were. So that kind of made me feel like that was the Pearl Jam vibe. Like, there wasn't, any bullshit. It was just, we treat everyone the same way, our fans. So I did it, and I heard from Jeff, and because when I create these pieces, as simple as they are or as complicated, there's always stories behind them. I could always tell you, and I had wrote, hey, like, I'm selling you this idea. This is what I did. But Jeff had wrote back to me, the bass player, and he said, I really like this piece. It's more of like an art piece. Let's just try it. Why not? And I like the idea. And yeah, and so it got released, and it was for Wrigley 2016. And it was like hitting a grand slam, man. Like, I put the AP prints up, and I had no idea. And like in 30 seconds, like I looked at my wife, and she said, "Look at your PayPal," and it was like, bing, bing. They had all sold out, and then the rest of the day, it was just nonstop. And then I think I sold like 350 posters in a day, and
Mm.
my life changed from then on. And then I started doing some more gig prints, and a lot came out of that, though, um, more than just selling art. Like I met so many people, like two people who I consider like my best friends came out of that, who collected my art,
Right.
and they were Pearl Jam people.
Okay.
Met a couple guys that swindled me that were Pearl Jam people.
Hmm.
you know, uh,
Yeah, the old, I see, I'm interrupting. I sort of hear a lot. Any band really kind of, I'll hit see or read a fan saying we're Pearl Jam fans, we're Foo Fighters fans, we're Pixies, whoever it is, and because you're a fan of that band, apparently it's almost automatically you're assumed that you are an amazing person, you know. Not everyone is in any walk of life,
right,
so yeah.
right. Yeah, so I've we're having a bachelor party. I need 10 of your posters, and
Right.
I don't and I don't know, and then they're on eBay. So like a lot of that happened. So Pearl Jam was a fantastic experience for me. It really introduced me to a lot of fans that never knew about me in my work
Mm.
before, and I'll be forever grateful for that particular thing. And that was the first gig print I ever did. So when I say I hit a grand slam, like that was like stepping in the biggest pile of like lucky shit ever. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Someone says what that was my first Feldman piece. I think they're referring to that as your That
Yeah, yeah, I
Pearl
do
Jam.
get a lot of that because a lot of people thought it was like Ralph Steadman had done that piece when they
Right.
bought it, and then like they were really disappointed to find out it was me. But Ralph Steadman has been a major influence and a friend for years and years and years, you know. So I had no problem working in that type of style because I learned so much for years.
Mm. And someone, Mark, is super policeman, has said the recent red, white, and blue trio, in brackets he's got name, are quite profound.
Wait, as a matter of fact, I'm working, I want to also apologize because yesterday I said I would be at my studio, but there's some work being done, and because of COVID and a bunch of stuff, we just can't have anybody in the studio today. So I'm working at my home studio. I happen to have, was that Super Policeman, I think, was the
Yeah.
thing? So, yeah, that is a triptych. Two pieces are being photographed right now, but I have the third piece with me here.
Check it
And,
out.
you know, you could see it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of texture and gloss to it. The series is red, white, and blue. It's my commentary and basically my journal of when some protesters, for the first time in the history of the United States, were actually gassed by their own government. So it's just a little triptych journal that's how I saw it. You know, I don't go one side or the other. It's just how I'm observing things.
Your Pearl Jam story has just been called Brilliant.
Oh, cool.
They want to know, do you like the new album? Or have you...
I'll be brutally honest with you. I have not listened to the album at all. I am really, as I told you earlier, the only thing I'm listening to these days is like hip hop. A lot of Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, some Drake, Lil Wayne. Like I'm really like I didn't listen to rap or hip hop for a long time, and in the late '80s, early '90s, you know, it was a lot of bands like Public Enemy and you know when Ice Cube, NWA, and Eric B and Rakim, all of the original hip hop and was out, and I really liked that. And then I stopped for a long time. So yeah,
Which
Run the Jewels, yeah.
which comic books, which artist inspired you? Does this make sense?
Well, I always wanted to be a comic book artist. So that's how I learned how to draw. I traced comic books. My father,
Ah,
yeah, my father bought me a Son of Origins of Marvel Comics hardback, and I had some tracing paper, and I just would trace. But comic book artists do have a big inspiration. First of all, I admire them tremendously because it's very, very hard work to do a page or two a day, every day. You can't stop, and you just need to draw the basic skills epically. And but I do like Jason Sean Alexander. I like Jonathan Wayshak, Bill Sienkiewicz. There's some of my Jim Mafood. There's some of my top comic book artists that I like right now that I follow.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And more, just while we're doing a little, while we can, a little bit more. I keep pushing this button by mistake. There we go. You're doing amazing things during these times. Is a comment, and from what you were saying earlier, it kind of makes sense to me that what's been said by that is actually you're documenting and you're really speaking to people with the work you're putting out at the moment.
Well, I mean, when I do the work, it is first and foremost for me,
Mm,
and it lets the viewer translate to them, you know, what it seems like to them. And if I'm communicating that, and this was actually like a job, then I would be doing my job.
mm,
And that's all when I show up at the studio every day is all that I can hope to do through the muse is that I can communicate how I'm feeling and how I'm seeing things, and that people can see it and hopefully see something, get a glimpse of what I saw, or even better yet, tell their own narrative.
And talking and telling your own narrative, it reminded me of something we spoke about earlier. And it's one of the coolest sort of stories I've heard on a gig poster. You managed to get Ozzy in and the Pixies in the same poster.
Oh yeah, I did a Pixies poster.
I just love this, Joey. Honestly, this is fantastic.
I had no idea, Tom, that this would be the deal sealer. So yeah, I was asked to do a Pixies poster, and it was in Iowa, I believe, or Boise, or I forget where. I don't even remember. But I did research. I like to do research before I do a gig print. Sometimes you can get like a good story from, just the backdrop of the venue. And this venue happened to, it happened to be the venue where I think 35 years ago, Ozzy Osbourne's infamous biting of the bat's head happened. So the gig poster was three bats and one was missing a head. And some people got it and some people didn't. But I did get a lot of emails. Hey man, was that because Ozzy bit the bat? And I was like, yeah, you win. Yeah.
Oh wow, people spotted that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So the Suburban Avenger, Luke Martin, who we've spoken to in the past, has joined us. So hi, Luke.
And I know Luke. I've met him face to face. Fantastic artist.
Excellent. Is he in cool? Is he as cool in face to face as he is on? Because we had a great chat a while ago.
He was kind of a dork, but like he's all right. You know what I mean? Nah, he
Yeah.
was cool, man. He was cool. He's gonna go for his. I mean, listen, man. Like I admire him, and who you had the other fellow on. Oh man, he does the really great colors with the guys walking across the bridges.
Dan Mumford.
Oh yeah, like him,
Eddie's walking across the bridge. Eddie Vedder.
yeah, him, Luke, Emmett. Just a couple of the guys that like are just fucking killing the gig print game. I mean, it's almost like I don't even like doing gig prints because of these guys.
Mm.
Like they're just epic. And it's really good to see young people coming in and doing that. Because I came into this particular genre later in my life, and you know, I don't know how I quite feel about it.
Before you say, I'll ask you something. And somebody just mentioned Zeb Love. I'll do a little plug
Oh
next.
yeah, Zeb Love's cool, man.
Yeah, we've got Zeb Love on. I'm not sure specifically what time, but next Sunday we're chatting with Zeb Love. Which
Yeah, I did a show with Luke, Zeb, and Emick
okay,
last summer here in
you're
California.
famous, man.
No, 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 no,
You're
no.
hanging with the big boys.
Well, yeah, that I am. They're famous. I'm not.
I'm saying you're famous. The Gabba show was epic.
Yeah, yeah.
You say you don't like gig prints. Will we see more Joey Feldman in the music posters? There's a very
Well,
there's a very specific PS. I'm a Pearl Jam fan.
thank you, Pearl Jam. Thank you. You. I never turn Pearl Jam off when they're in the car. I don't know. I mean, first of all, the history of live gigs right now is fucked. So part of my language. So I don't even know if anything's going on with gig prints. If I'm asked, depending on who it is, I would like to do it. I'm gonna try to approach them a different way. I'm not going to comment on that yet, just in case a gig print comes along, and so I have a different approach now to it. But yeah, if one comes up that I like, I'll do. There's a couple bands I won't work with. I'm not going to tell you who they were, who I've turned down. I won't get into that. But yeah, I would be up for it, of course.
Mm. Someone, I mean, I'm chuckling because I mean, I know what the Pearl Jam merch scene's like, and you from that, you know, that first one, just all of a sudden, those prints selling like bam, 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 must have almost been like, you know, hang on, is my PayPal broken? Is there a glitch in the machine? This is going crazy. But someone said like Pearl Jam will have a great tour in 2021, the merch tour. So there's opportunities. I know, because I know they were meant to be over here now almost, or if not now, within the next week or two. And obviously they were meant to have been in the States, and we were meant to have taken a young fella to their Oakland show back in April, which was yeah, obviously had to be cancelled and disappointing. I'll tip my cap to them because they cancelled anything before any laws or whatever instruction was given. But we have made a commitment to that family that whenever that show happens again, they're going. It's not been pulled.
I wanted to say I really like what you and everyone do. You know, in this day and age where you go to a concert and everybody tries to save the moment with their cell phone, you know, or whatever. They're not in the moment. They're just basically filming it because they want to save that. But the moment right there to see the live, to experience it and feel it is what it's really about. And for you to provide that opportunity for people is mind blowing. I mean, it's just keep doing it, man.
Sorry, I mean, you earlier said, you know, you're a sensitive soul. I'm a sensitive soul as well, and like hearing that from you, I really, yeah, really appreciate it. And you know, and a lot of times, when we're at a show, you know, a lot of what I'm doing is taking photos or bits of video because, you know, if I can find someone who will be able to put a video together of, you know, of that person's day, I'll do it. You know, so often my back will metaphorically be to the show itself. You know, and I will say to our guests, whether they're 10, 15, especially the teenagers want to sort of film everything, you know, or whether, because we work with adults as well, we've taken, you know, like I said, people who survived domestic abuse, you know, depression, you know, suicide attempts, whatever. It's like, you can use your camera, but you don't have to. I will take so many photos, you won't know what to do. I want you just to watch, you know. One of the, you know, you talk about Pearl Jam. A couple of years ago, myself and my now fiance, walked to London from here, which is about 160 miles, as a fundraiser.
I read about that. Yep.
Oh my God! Every time I talk about it, all I can think about is my feet. And then Ed actually started talking about us, you know, on stage, which kind of really blew my mind, you know. But we've taken people to Pearl Jam shows, and even then, it's kind of like, yes, they're my favorite band, but I'm not there for them. I'm there for our guests, you know. And I'm not sure if you're aware of one of the things we do is we create a show poster. We have a local artist, and you know, so everyone gets their own unique show poster, you know, for their show. It's something, to me, it's so important that not everyone can get to a show. I don't like using the word slogan, but we use the sort of slogan because you matter. And it's kind of, that's the whole intention is, look, you know, if Eddie Vedder's on stage, he ain't the VIP as far as I'm concerned. It's our guests, you know, and that's it. And it's the bottom line is, you're a VIP for even for a day, whatever you've been through in your life, you know, that's the deal, as it were.
Sounds a lot to me like love and service.
Yeah,
And
thank you. Yeah.
you know, so I applaud you. Keep it up. I personally don't even like going to concerts anymore.
Really?
Well, I can't stand people.
That's good. That's, mind you, this is a real, you know, I've seen that I saw, I think it was in Germany, and if people have watched before, I have actually mentioned this before. Recently, I saw on one of the social media channels, it was a full stage show. I mean, it wasn't a tiny little stage. It was huge, you know, of some sort of electronic music. I don't know what it was, you know. And but it was like a drive-in gig, and everyone had to stay in their cars, and you got, you know, and it was kind of fun.
Sounds perfect to
It's,
me.
well, I was just thinking of you. I mean, geez, man, you go to a hip hop show and you can stay in your car. You don't have to talk to people. That's about perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have something actually a little bit better.
Oh, go on.
Spotify. No,
But
look, man, I love people. It's just the humanity and how people can act, you know, and seeing some of the stuff now with everything that's going on, it's just the true colors come out. But then here I am on the phone with you, and your true colors come out because you care about what you do. And
thank,
that's way more important than any job, you know, anything. So,
thank you, and again, thank you. This is kind of like really sensing a sort of very much a sort of a mutual appreciation society. So I'm yeah. Um, and there's some more.
I'm real into people that give and help when, you know, when somebody, when people are selfish and they're not into helping other people, that is probably the biggest turnoff for me in everything. Because, you know, what is it? I think Leonard Nimoy said, you know, the more you give, the more you get. And it's true because if, you know, I like to get involved, you know, when it comes to like charities and stuff. I like to help. I like to help anonymously most of all, but like I do like to help, and I know some other people in professions will say, whether it's an artist or not, that are just so afraid, you know, financial insecurity, or their rep or something like that. And you know what? I don't look at that. You know, man, you're in this thing. The more you do, you're always taken care of. You know,
Mm,
you know what I mean? It's just exactly. You got to give it away to keep it, and that's what I believe, and that's my one of my mantras.
yeah, and you just something you just said is like I can't remember what it just triggered the thought is like there's been many times, you know, because I have, you know, depression
Hmm.
and you know, have addiction and homelessness in my history, and there's been times where I've just like I just want to give this up. I can't take it. Where, you know, we're existing hand to mouth, as it were, and then all of a sudden, you know, something will happen, and it'll be like, wow, oh God, we got someone awesome to take to a show, right? We're gonna do, and it's like, oh, okay, it's worth it after all, you know, and it is. You're absolutely right what you're saying. You know,
And then
it's
right in that moment, you're not thinking about yourself,
yeah, yeah,
and you get into action because you've been down this road and you have a mission.
yeah.
When you just constantly think about yourself, I mean, when I think about myself, I think about, you know, how important I am and how great I am, and it gets me nowhere.
Mm, mm.
Only when I think about other people, you know, or the world around me, and I get out of this is when I'm my best, I think.
Mm. I have no idea what this means. I mean, the first part is an Oakland show would be incredible. I don't know if that's whether this person means you doing the poster for an Oakland show or Pearl Jam going there again or whatever. I have no idea. But the bit next comes. Her grandson is one of your biggest fans since I showed him plasma protectors.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a good print.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
I'm
fun
not.
one. It's got
I'll
these little monsters all over it.
That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. So you kind of you're you do a gig work if it felt simply if it felt right
Yeah, it would have. Everything would have to be lined up.
in a way that Joey can
Yeah, I
be
mean,
Joey.
one of the ways that I work is like I don't like to do sketches and show
Mm.
somebody because like when I sit down, I like to get the piece done and have it done by the time I sit up, or over a day or two. And with gig prints, they're more of like illustrations that tell stories. And, they're thought out sometimes. They're really, really well rendered. And my style is not quite like that. And the more I have to do that, where somebody's telling me, like, I want you to draw this, maybe add this in there, like, that's not, I'm at a point in my career where I don't have to do that, so I'm cool with it. The people who I was doing the gig for would really just have to kind of work on my terms, which I know that sounds kind of cocky, but I don't want to be in a spiritual prison and, hating what I do. I love what I do and I get to do it. I don't want someone to tell me how to do it,
Well,
basically.
you just kind of said feeling cocky a bit or being cocky, and I just think listening to that, I'm thinking, no, you've got your work independent of gigs, and if someone's going to come, I'm Mr. X in charge of band Y, and I'm going to say, hey, I love your work, Joey, but you've got to do this, this, and this for me. It's like I've lost Joey. I've suddenly,
Exactly.
and then that's what's the point in
Yeah.
asking you to do the poster for me?
Like my voice is like shut.
Yeah.
That's what they just shut my voice off, and it's like, well, you could get anybody to do that then,
Mm.
you know.
Explaining the kangaroo print to my grandson was a teachable moment.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah. No.
Poor animals.
So, yeah, there's just something more. There's more praise for the Plasma Protectors print, which apparently was for the David Lynch Foundation.
Yes, it was. That was to get scholarships for people that are sober in recovery to learn how to meditate, which is part of mostly every 12-step program. Actually, every
Mm,
12, has
mm,
an 11th step that tells you to meditate. And I learned transcendental meditation through the David Lynch Foundation, and it helped me tremendously. And I am sober in recovery, and I felt that it was necessary because it's not cheap to learn meditation, but they make it affordable. But we were able to offer scholarships from this charitable print.
that's interesting. And I'd never heard of that, and I really like, what you just explained. I really like what they're doing, and for me, it's like I mean, there are so many little seeds that came into making the tree that's given to life now, or fledgling plant, it feels like sometimes. But one was, I don't know how long it was after I'd cleaned up, and my things were alcohol and coke, and I was an IV user, and I probably, how I don't have really bad brain damage because I overdosed on coke a lot, but kind of like you just fit and come round. But one time I overdosed on heroin because there was no coke, and I thought, oh well, let's do this. And if there hadn't been someone in the room, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And I don't know if it was 6 months, 9 months later, whatever it was, I'd stopped using, and Pearl Jam were playing up in London, and I was, young enough. I was 35-ish, 37. I'd have happily hitched up there, but I just, I was on social security, as you call it, benefits. There just wasn't the money to go up and get the ticket and it was just one of those moments of like, if someone had said, Tom, you know what, you're taking this being clean seriously, you're going to therapy, you're not just kind of pretending, and I'm going to take you to see that show. It would have been like, wow. So in my sort of my wish list of taking people to shows is people who have, come from that place and are taking it seriously. There's no point in taking someone who's one day sober. It's not gonna, it's no point. Someone who's a little bit down the road, or someone who's been homeless, and has actually got themselves, and from that place of being homeless. One of the guys we first used to do some art, I actually met him and he wasn't, instead, he was homeless and he was drinking. And instead of begging, he was using cardboard to do some really cool, pieces. And having been in the position I'm in, as I've mentioned, addiction and whatnot, I can pick the person who's saying they're gonna, they want to get into treatment or straighten up, whether they're saying it just because it's a good line to get more money or whether they're genuine. And I knew this guy was genuine. And I said, I tell you what, and it was really weird. I'm not normally in that part of town, and I bumped into him 3 times within 2 weeks, maybe. The third time I kind of had to sort of step in with him because he sort of fell asleep and the cops wanted to arrest him, and I kind of, just sort of stepped in and no, he's all right, and they gave him a lift and what have you, and that was cool. But I was like, you get yourself straight, come, I'll buy you what you need to make, posters for us, drawing, crayons, whatever art medium you do it. And yeah, and he ended up doing a few posters for us over the years, and it's like, it is kind of a wish list to, someone like, like that, to take them to a show who takes it seriously. Because on the flip side, when I was in rehab many years ago, it's like there were people who would just go and use it as a way of not going to jail. And it was the 10th, 11th, 12th time they'd been in, and they were back at it the moment they were out. But it was a good way of not going to jail. But yeah, I have a few, wish lists of people I'd like to, demographics, if that's the right word. Have you mastered hovering yet? I've just been asked, or you've been asked.
I'll show you. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm hovering.
He's hovering. Live,
Chair.
live and exclusive. The person who's mentioned about the kangaroo moment and the other bit has also just said, Clyde, and I guess that's the grandson, he loves your work.
Oh, Clyde. Thank you, Clyde.
Oh, he is the grandson because my grandson made me write this.
I like that name, Clyde.
Does he have a friend, Bonnie or Derek? If you know English humor, there was Derek and Clyde.
I don't know that.
Oh God, now their real names I can't remember. I can see their faces: Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
Oh, Dudley Moore, I know.
Yeah. There's a very well-known sketch, if you know them, where they use the C word a lot. I'm sure it's findable on YouTube if you do that. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. One of my favorite, and we spoke about this earlier, and then you told me the story behind it, but just from looking through, was the Mosquito Roja, which I looked at it, and as a Pearl Jam fan, I'm seeing Red Mosquito, I'm thinking that would just have been the most amazing Pearl Jam show poster, and it wouldn't even have needed to have it big, just tiny little where it was and all that. But there's quite a touching and important story behind that in a way, to me, actually is probably my favorite piece of yours.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yes, so, before you do anything with any of these bands, you can't really use their names and stuff. So, just, because they own that. And the story is, I have a friend who a long time ago told me to try to do Pearl Jam posters, but I blew her off because I was like, that's not my thing. And she's a huge Pearl Jam fan, as her family is. And her husband had gotten this type of cancer, this blood cancer. And I was talking to her, and I kind of wanted to help, because he was a school teacher, and even if you have insurance and you're a teacher here in the United States, that's a whole other conversation. So I had seen around the internet that Pearl Jam had played um, Red Mosquito. It was the first time they played it in a long time, I guess about a year and a half ago. And I was like, oh, Mosquito, Sting, Take Out Blood, you know, and then I just fooled around with the name a little bit, and then I drew it up real quick, and we got it made, and you know, we sold them as a charity print, and you know, we sold out of the prints, and we were able to give them money so that it would buy them some more time.
Which is, yeah, it's just a lovely thing to do. Just a really, really lovely thing to do. And yeah, and we spoke earlier. We took an amazing woman, Steph, to Pearl Jam's Fenway show 18 months ago ish now. You know, cancer, and you know, we don't have healthcare like you. I've had a heart operation. They put a stent in. I went into hospital, came out, not a penny, you know. And they got to a stage where it was just, who cares? And almost like, who cares about money anymore? You know, we're going to just have to keep getting credit cards, this, that, and the other, just to be able to keep existing, and paying for this and paying for that and paying for the other. It's as an English person who knows how our health system works, it blows my mind. You know, I know we've gone off on a tangent here, but it just blows my mind. You know, so I think doing something like that is really cool. And obviously, if they're Pearl Jam fans and the Red Mosquito, it makes even more sense. You know,
Tom, I figure if I'm put on this earth and I can't use my art to help some people, then I don't have a mission.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just like I don't even know like how else to say that, but like I feel responsible, you know, when stuff like that happens. That you know, I've always wanted to be a superhero. I've always wanted to, you know, I wanted to, you know, stop the bank robbers.
mm-hmm,
And I'm only 5'4", so it's a little difficult. But if I can draw something and help make a change, and that was what my gift was. If I don't use that, then I'm going to lose it.
mm,
So,
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I necessarily wanted to be like have superpowers or a superhero, but there is that within Given to Live. It is. It's like, I want to take as many people to shows as we possibly can, you know, and we have to turn some down because of finances, you know. And I mean, I've had people ask to go and see bands that actually haven't actually been in existence for 20 years, and I'm like, okay, I really don't have the superpower to bring that band back together or raise them from the dead, you know. I mean, I've literally had people who do not exist anymore, you know, being, no, I can't take you to see them because they're not with us anymore. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll ask, you know. This is really cool to read, actually. You know, again, this SK8 cruise lady who spoke about her grandson. He's made his own gallery of art inspired by you.
oh,
It's gonna get in. It's gonna get posted on the fan page.
oh, okay. Yeah, I'm. Make sure to tell Sarah, my assistant, the greatest assistant ever, that it's on there because I don't have access to Facebook or Instagram. I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it, man. I have to have adults take it away from me. I can't go on.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. You know, we need it to put us out there. At the same time, it's like, what am I seeing? It's a six of one and a half a dozen the other, as we say here. There's some great stuff. There's some unbelievable stuff.
Hey, before, I don't know if she's watching or not, but I gotta give a shout out to my epic wife, Mo. It's her birthday today.
Oh, cool! Happy
So
birthday,
happy
Mo.
birthday, Mo. I love you more and more every day.
Oh, that's so lovely, man. That's really cool. She shares the birthday with my younger brother, who I
Oh,
know is
cool.
not watching this. So there's no point in wishing him happy birthday. Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Oh no, I know my brother well enough to know he won't. He's got two young kids. It's their bedtime besides anything else. Yeah, you know. So yeah, I'm just kind of. What time did we start? On the hour, didn't we? So we got about 10 minutes just to flag that up.
Does anybody want to ask any questions? I just figured out how to put the text up
Ah,
so I could see it. I don't know if anybody has a question or anything. I would be more than willing to talk about that. I could talk about a little bit of some changes happening with my studio.
yeah. Someone else has a studio coming along. You're
Uh,
now seeing comments. Joey Feldman, you're a beautiful soul.
uh,
If
Live
you...
with me. Uh,
Someone's yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I could see it says studio update. So I don't know if you saw the Instagram yesterday or not.
Well, yeah, I've got a bone to pick with you. You were telling me how amazing Sarah is earlier, and you destroyed her office. Bad man.
Oh yeah, I got her right out of there. We knocked down the. Yeah, she used to be overhead so she could talk to me while I worked, and
Mm,
now we've totally got that area is all mine.
mm,
If you know my studio, if you've ever visited my studio, it used to be an L shape. Now it's just one big square. And Sarah has got a new space, which is a giant showroom and inventory section for people in another part of the building. So if she wants to speak with me, she has to take a walk.
mm.
So it's really cool. But officially, I have a new name, and the business name is JF Wet Ink, and
Wet ink.
Wet Ink, yes. Um, and we will be, I mean, the COVID pandemic slowed some things down, but not us that much. But the JF Wet Ink line will be releasing some pretty cool toys, some printing with, we're working with a couple printers right now where we're going to up the quality. Look for, I know you like this, but I'm gonna I'm gonna drop a hot potato right now. Look for the plague doctor to retire.
To retire.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all I
Mm.
will say at that.
Mm-hmm.
JF Wedding, that's what's coming next.
Okie doke. And that's going to be a .com dot something as well. You'll have a
Yeah, there'll
website.
be jfwedding.com. We have the website closed down right now
Mm-hmm.
for some changes, and there's going to be a whole just some stuff that I just cannot absolutely talk about, but I will give just because I'm here and I appreciate people's time that I will let them know that the plague doctor is retiring and to look for something else and jfwedding.com.
Mm-hmm. JF, yep, wedding.com. Well, I don't know if Sarah's watching or she will watch, but someone's saying best assistant ever. And we interacted a bit today, and she is, yeah, super cool.
Yeah, when she first came in for an interview, I said I don't want an assistant, I want a mom, I want a mother. And that's exactly what she does. She nurtures me to produce this work, but she handles all of the stuff that sometimes I'm constitutionally incapable of doing. It's just too much. It's too much. So I get to go in and live my dream, and that's to just go in and paint, 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 paint.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
trying
here she is. Do we ever get tired of being right? No.
to. Is she here?
Yeah.
Hi, Sarah. Which, um, Sarah Joy Allison. Ah, hello, Sarah. Hi. And thanks for your help today. Do you ever get tired of being right, you guys? Which guys is she talking about?
Us.
Oh God, I never feel. I'm like I never feel like I'm right about any. Well, I do, but at the same time, internally, I'm like always questioning. Are you good enough? Are you doing this enough? Are you doing that enough? Are you doing the other stuff? In fact, yeah, I feel like I want to steal Sarah. But we might fall out pretty quick. And I certainly couldn't afford her. People wanting to know what's coming up.
That was pretty much about it. I mean, I'm concentrating right now on this pandemic series and everything else that comes along with it, and putting it together into some type of package.
Mm.
You know, that we've talked about a book, high quality prints. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
I want to document this whole pandemic, and I want to present it in a package that people can look back on it and say, who was working during the pandemic? You know, who fell through the fear? Who, like, I painted almost every day. I did a painting almost every day for this because for me, Tom, I get this energy, and
Mm.
I do better in a pandemic than in real life
Right.
because I'm in a survival mode right now, and I have my mission, just like Given to Live has its mission. My mission is to paint and document this and to
Mm.
not slow down, you know, and I think I've been able to keep up with that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll use that word again. Prolific at the moment.
I
Very
mean, I
prolific.
absolutely am in love with what I do, so it's a pleasure to go every day to the studio and paint. You know, like it's absolutely a gift.
Mm. Yeah. It's and when people have that, it shows in whatever work they do. Whether you approve of the work they do or not is a different thing. But if somebody loves what they do, it shows. I mean,
And it's not a job at that point.
yeah, yeah. I mean, sort of safe crackers if they love doing it, or hackers. I mean, I don't quite understand hackers who want to hack ordinary people, but if you want to try and get into a bank, that kind of makes sense to me. But you got to be in
Well,
love
that
with
was
it.
like when I used to smoke pot. People would ask me, do you like getting high? And I don't know if I did or not, but I used to say, well, I smoked it just to break the law. Now, you know.
We have got about 3 minutes, Joey.
Okay.
Just saying, and then Instagram will cut us out. The figures will be fire. Somebody's saying fantastic chat. Thank you both. Well, you're very welcome for saying that. Clyde's in charge here now.
My man Clyde. I'm trying to think if there's a. Oh, I have another piece here I'll show you, which was part of the pandemic and a personal situation that I'm going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Under Pressure, and really, just working from the home studio, and has to deal with me. Some folks know and some don't. You know, my mom's was in the hospital and she finally came home, but she's got some issues going on, and with the pandemic and everything, it's tough because I'm 3,000 miles away. So I've been painting about that. You know, you can see, and Under Pressure is just that whole everything, man, just everything on my back. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if it comes up at your end. We got a timer coming down. We've got 90 seconds, and you spoke about your mum, and if I could, Joey, I would like magically put you with her, and for it to be totally safe, and it must be so hard to not be able to go visit,
Yeah, it's I did FaceTime with her yesterday, but yeah, it's been tough, and I don't know if I'm ready to take the risk going on the plane. I just don't know. It's an hour at a time, but I know a lot of people have been praying and they've been reaching out.
Yeah. Okay, so unless there's anything else, Joey.
Uh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on so much, man. It's been great getting to know you. Everybody that's even just clicked like on one of my pieces, thank you, and everybody that supported me and just is cool. Thank you.
And Joey, thank you so much.